Hi, I'm Melanie Barr. Welcome to the She Built It Experience with Melanie. You're here because you want to experience the life and business that you crave. Join me as I talk to women who have successfully built it, a career and business that they love. We dive into the topic of how they built it and talk about everything from having the courage to make career leaps to the details of how to lead effectively, create successful teams, implement strategies for growth, and infuse tech innovation. Magic happens when we focus on the part of ourselves and our business that brings us joy. So let's dive in. Kim Nortman's background is in building businesses in partnership with artists and creators. She is the founder of Telly, an essential Web3 starter kit to share and fund your passions through your own content, community, and creative destiny. Before Telly, she led strategic partnerships across Whale Rock Industries creator businesses, including Adam Savage's Tested, Kardashian Jenner Apps, Tyler the Creator's Golf Media, and brands across parenting, lifestyle, entertainment, and food. She started her career as an attorney in the LA office of Gibson, Dunn, and Crutcher. You are the creator of Telly. Tell us about it and the pivotal moment when you decided to make your leap.
Thank you so much for having me, Melanie. I am Kim Nortman. I'm the founder and CEO of Telly. Started my career as a writer and have always been passionate about telling stories of people whose stories might not otherwise be told. I ended up parlaying that into becoming a lawyer, spent much of my time focused on social justice and equity issues, particularly around pay equity on behalf of workers who were not making a living wage off of their work. And as I saw the group of creators in the creator economy growing up, trying to make a career from their passions, I knew this was my chance to combine my love of storytelling with my desire to make sure this new class of workers could live off and thrive off of their work. I jumped to a company in 2015 where we were building direct-to-consumer businesses in partnership with creators and talent throughout the ecosystem, everyone from smaller YouTubers up through top talent. And I quickly discovered there that those businesses worked well for a really small percentage of top talent and really no one else. I became obsessed with how do we open up access so that any creator who can find an engaged fan base that finds value in their work can directly own their relationships with their fans and supporters, and has very robust no-code design and storytelling tools to express their creative output and ultimately be able to make a living by standing up what is essentially the new age fan club. So that is a lot of the roots of what we have built at Telly.
Having that additional income and being able to make money through your creative outlet is huge for all of us.
Yeah, absolutely. What we found is there's a lot more distribution out there. So people are going directly to customers and consumers and fans and supporters, but they're still really owned and controlled by these handful of platforms that are really reaping all of the rewards, where you have the top 1% of creators and the platforms that are making all of the money. And even other folks who are finding really passionate, engaged fan bases are really struggling to get by. So while there's so much opportunity and so many great, well-intentioned companies trying to support creative people in this ecosystem, we haven't really seen this transition beyond the status quo of a handful of platforms owning the means of production and distribution.
You believe that creators connect us to our own humanity and to each other. I love that and completely agree. Why are you so passionate about helping creators and people express themselves?
I believe that fundamentally human connection comes through telling our story and connecting with each other through our story. And if you think about that moment in your childhood and that song that changed your life, or that movie or TV show, these stories that people are telling are the soundtrack and the motivators of us becoming who we are fully as human beings. And we saw this so much during COVID when we were all isolated in our own homes. And a lot of times our main connection to each other was through, maybe it was your favorite YouTuber, maybe it was your favorite musician, whatever it was. These were the things that actually pulled us out of our own little bubbles and made us see the perspectives of others and connect with each other.
So true. I found myself listening to empowering music throughout COVID just because I needed it every morning to get in the right mindset. And I had a woman on the podcast, she puts her story on Instagram and she's so real about it. And she has an amazing business and complete respect for that. She also shows all the other parts of her life, which to your point helps us connect with someone because it makes us relatable. I wanted to connect with her because her personal life was so relatable.
Yeah, absolutely. One thing that got us through COVID in the earliest days when for those of us like you and I who were all of a sudden finding ourselves home with energetic kids and trying to figure out how we were all going to survive and do work and support school and the kids and everything. And there was this woman, Wendy Mack, who's an artist who started doing these live art classes at like 10 a.m. every day during COVID, and then getting everybody to show up and then like showcasing the different pieces of art that different kids were doing, and this feeling of we're all in this together and we can all try a new craft or start something or be part of creating together and then connect through the creation of that thing was such a huge early moment in COVID with the kids of being like, okay, we're all going to be okay. There's so many stories that people have like that of connecting through creativity and through content that have sustained us, particularly in these recent years.
You mentioned this a little bit before. You believe in a new set of gatekeepers. Share with us your thoughts on how it used to be and how you are changing the narrative.
Yeah, there have been multiple sets of gatekeepers over the course of different creative industries. In the earliest days, of course, you started to have the studios and the labels and all of the distributors, where it was really a very small group of people who decided what actually got funded and what got made, and then what got distributed to folks. And then you saw this sort of new wave with tech platforms where there's, again, more opportunity to go directly to audiences and fans who might engage with your work, but have become, in a way, a new set of gatekeepers where algorithms are really dictating who sees what, where you're expected with essentially 100% take rate to make content for free.
So many people that are listening feel that frustration.
Yeah. And then what also happens is your audience is totally locked in there. You don't own or control your relationships with your supporters. You don't own or control your content and your path to making a living. And you live in a little bit of fear and concern that if something shifts or shuts down in this one place, you may lose everything. What we're trying to help folks do is actually give them the power to directly own the relationships with their fan bases. So we're not the new gatekeeper on that. That relationship exists on a shared piece of technology outside of us, and you can take those supporters anywhere you want. And we offer you creative tooling and ways to engage with them and also tell your story that are helpful for you to actually build your own home while working within the existing system. And the more and more we can help folks move beyond this single platform lock-in, the more flexibility and freedom creative people will truly have to make a living off of their passions.
And I think a lot of people just saw this with Instagram has been having issues, and I'm sure TikTok, and they all do at times. But when that happens, you think, oh, well, if this goes away, what else do I have?
We're trying to encourage people to do is at the same time that you're building and growing audience in all those places, simultaneously having a group of supporters that you know who they are, that you actually own directly, that you're able to take with you anywhere, but that also works within the existing workflow that you have on Instagram or TikTok or your other primary platform. But it's really important to invest in some of that foundation if you want to have a long-term sustainable career that is not so dependent on a single platform that's trying to kind of lock you in and keep the attention of all of your supporters.
So true. Tell us about Telly. If we signed up today, walk us through what that looks like. And you also launched Sell. I'd love to know more about that and how that works.
So Telly is at base, it is your digital home for your creativity. It's both a website builder for Web 2 and Web 3 creators and also a digital commerce tool. You can use it as your website, your link in bio, your landing page for every release or drop. You can create it in just a couple of minutes. And it looks highly branded and very, very you or whatever that project or release is. And then you can also sell goods to your supporters directly from your page. And the great part is that you're able to actually build relationships with supporters on the blockchain as well, which means that you own that relationship forever. You can take it with you. If Telly were to shut down tomorrow, you would have those relationships and you could take them to any other platform that you want to take advantage of. And you can do that at any time as well. So we're not trying to lock you in. We're actually just trying to give you great creative tools to be able to embed all parts of your world, tell your story, get your supporters and fans to directly support you, and that give you a lot more flexibility and control over your career. And then we recently launched Sell on Telly, which again is a way of selling a digital good directly to your supporters. And they can use that as a pass that unlocks access to your world. So it immediately becomes not just a digital object or a file, but it becomes a key, and it can unlock exclusive content, exclusive products, tickets, or even just more information from your own private blog, behind the scenes, anything you want for any individual project or any part of your world. The thing that you're selling is not just an item, it becomes really access to your world.
And how does that relate to NFTs?
So it relates to NFTs in that the actual object that you're selling is an NFT, but what we're doing is we're making it much more than a collectible. That NFT is really the core of it, is being used to say, I am a supporter of you, and I am using this NFT and I'm transforming it into a key that unlocks anything you want in your world. So anything that you can do on Patreon or any of the other Web2 tools, those fans can use that NFT as an access key and get more experiences, more content, more access to your inner world. And so what we're trying to do is set up the ability for creators and fans to directly own their relationships themselves, and also add much more long-term value and utility into the NFT space, so that it's not about the initial sale or the collectible aspect of this and investing in something as a collectible. It's about investing in a relationship and about deepening connection between creators and their fans through storytelling.
That's so smart. And I think we're going in that direction. Might take a little while, but I think people are waking up and thinking, I need to own what I'm creating and what I'm making, and the relationships, to your point.
Yeah, exactly. It's about owning your content, owning your relationships, and then also being able to participate financially long-term in the value you're delivering, which in the current system you don't get to do.
You are an entrepreneur, mom, and have a busy lifestyle. I love asking this question. What has been your experience juggling it all? What have you learned, and what advice do you have?
Juggling it all, you do it better and worse at different times. But I think being patient and kind with yourself in what you need in a particular moment is really key. One of the biggest pieces of advice I have is change is inevitable, but growing and adapting is optional. So you can always start doing something different today than you did yesterday. And I think that's really key when you're trying to find the right balance between all the different things that you're doing. Sometimes you strike it better and sometimes you strike it worse, but then you just do it differently tomorrow in a way that better serves you. And it's an iterative journey along the way.
I love that. And thank you for that reminder that it's okay to change and that give ourselves permission to change course.
Exactly.
Magic happens when we focus on the part of ourselves and our business that brings us joy. What is one thing that you do each day to make sure that you find and live your joy?
So I spend a lot of time with my family. I refuse to miss out on the small things.
You have a great family.
I do. It's true. They're really, really fun. So I can't help but want to get to experience all the laughs and all the giggles and all the joy there. Finding joy for me is sometimes really a practice of prioritizing.
I don't think you're alone.
Yeah, the things that give me joy. And it's not always these sort of glamorous, I do this thing. It's more all the things that folks say around exercise and meditation and that people tell you to do to bring yourself back to finding the joy in the chaos. Whenever I'm investing in those foundations and that scaffolding, I find myself just bringing joy to everything I'm doing. And when I'm letting that stuff go, I find it harder to find the joy. I'd say another thing is I really always make time to connect with people, whether that's at work or externally. I get a lot of energy and joy from that human connection, which might be obvious considering it's the core of what motivates us at Telly.
And that's easily felt when you're around you.
That's very kind of you. And so, I share about myself and I take the time to learn about the people I work with. Those are the folks that you spend the most time with. Sometimes when you're so busy, it can be easy to get trapped into deprioritizing that, but it just brings so much more joy into the everyday when you're taking that time for connection. So I always try to do that as well.
Absolutely. And I'm sure it makes people want to work for you and be part of your team as well.
I hope so.
You are building an incredible business. Thank you for bringing us back to that human connection and giving us a platform to make money while creating and being who we are. Can you please share with our listeners how and where they can find you?
Absolutely. You can find me at Kim Nortman on Twitter. We're at TellySite on Twitter as well, and across every other social platform. Our site is tell.ie, tell.ie.
Thank you for joining us today. I'd love to hear from you. Reach out to me at hello@shebuiltit.com, on our She Built It website, or at She Built It on social. Thank you to my editor, Rich Streffolino, who always makes us sound good. Until next time, let nothing stop you from experiencing the life and business that you crave.